Hello guys, welcome back to Dragon Exotics, and today we will be continuing our audiobook series. So with that, hope you enjoy, and let's get started. Legends Turn to Ash by Faithlyn Leach. Chapter 8, The OSI. Drop by drop, rain fell onto everyone's skin, filling the sky with a terrifying, eerie mood. Lightning lit up the area, and thunder crackled in the distance. We remained silent for a long while until Zephyr snapped out of this shock.
Morogano. There's no doubt it was him,
Zephyr muttered quietly, looking downward at the island. Alzora flattened her ears back as if she knew about the name to a full extent, but she could only answer, Morogano? The first dragon to disappear since the strange phenomenon occurrences? That was 5 years ago. Wiping the trace of tears from my eyes, I calmed down and joined in. What are you saying? These phenomena didn't start recently? They've been happening for 5 years? 5 years ago, strange things started happening on this planet, but only dragons, as well as other animals, could sense them. It wasn't until this year that volcanoes began to erupt all around the world, and earthquakes started popping up in unusual places. The ocean's depletion is recent as well. I believe most of the severe occurrences began this month, Oogie stated in all seriousness. Zephyr growled for a second, and blew steam through his nostrils.
You're leaving one main factor out of that story, Oogie. Morogano was the only dragon who truly believed some odd occurrence was happening on Earth. He begged others to follow him and help him find the reason for the sudden change in environment, but nobody would believe him. Soon after, he left his family in search of the cause, and when weeks turned to months, his friends began to worry. One after another, dragons left in search of Morogano, but none returned. Until today, there hasn't been a single trace of where he went. I do not understand why or what you humans need him for, but it is obvious that whatever happened to Morogano happened to the others as well. Morogano, the Jade Dragon, the dragon with the power to control others' will.
That's sad. All he wanted to do was protect his family and the Earth, and no one even tried to believe him, Asher added quietly. Jacer stepped in, kind of annoyed.
What were you guys doing at the time? Why didn't you help him?
Oogie put on a confused fake smile and scratched his ear with one talon.
Well, I was banished, so I didn't know about that part. Sorry.
As for Zephyr and I, Alzora said, ashamed, we were mid-stage dragonettes at the time, so we were constantly exploring the outside world and didn't know what was going on in the tribe. I just wish I would have known. I glanced down, and then at the island, furious and determined. What exactly happened? What did that man do to him? Why? We can't just hover here, focused on what we didn't do in the past. What matters now is what we do here and now. We need to go to that island and find out more. We need to know what the heck we're even supposed to do next. It is bothersome not knowing our next step or where we are going. Even as we speak, the ocean is raging and the volcano on the island is slowly oozing lava. We have to hurry. With a nod, we all agreed and flew closer and closer to the island until we came to a sudden stop. Alzora began to take in heavier breaths as if she were exhausted, and so did the other dragons. Before backing away a few feet from the island, they began to hesitantly cough and wobble in the air. Hey, what's wrong? Why can't you get closer? Why are you all coughing? I asked worriedly. I don't know, Alzora attempted to say through the last of her coughs.
I assume it has something to do with that strange smell. It has created some sort of reaction for us,
Zephyr spoke, holding back his cough. Jacer glanced at Oogie and then back at the others.
We still have to get down there.
I agree. Is there any way you can get close enough to the island so we can jump off? I asked Alzora. Finally catching her breath, she replied, I think so, but we would have to be holding our breath. and you would have to jump off when we're flying at our top speed right next to the shore. There's no way we could actually hover, let alone land there." Startled by the response, Oogie tried to argue against it. "Are you sure this is a good idea? What if something happens to them?" "They will be fine," Zephyr intervened. "Let's just go already so we can escape this forsaken land." As we all adjusted our positions on the dragons to a partially standing, partially kneeling stance, the dragons slowly made their way back toward the island. "Okay, are you ready?" Azora asked, preparing to reach full speed. "Let's do it!" Jacer shouted against the howling wind and rain. Azora, Zephyr, and Oogie rose into the sky and dove toward the island, reaching speeds never seen before. The wind and rain pounded against our face as we squinted, trying to spot the sandy shore. "Okay, on the count of 3, guys, we jump," I shouted as loud as I possibly could. 1, 2, Jacer added with a determined smile. Are we sure this is a good idea?" Asher frantically asked. 3, Jacer and I yelled as if we were directing it toward Asher. Using both my arms and legs, I threw myself off of Alzora onto the shore and attempted to cushion my fall by rolling. Jacer soon landed next to me and smiled as if it was a competition. "Where's Ash?" Before I could finish my question, I could hear Asher's high-pitched screaming as he clumsily flew toward me. It looked as if Zephyr had used his tail to fling him off. With a thud and a pain in my side, Asher fell right on top of me, knocking us both to the ground. "Ugh," I moaned. "Not again. Why am I the one you people always crash into?" "Sorry," he moaned back, pitifully. Jacer snickered behind us, dusted off his hat, and then began walking into the island forest. "Hey, what do you think you're doing?" I asked, quickly jumping to my feet and catching up to Jacer. "Wait for us." He shrugged and continued to walk onward once we caught up with him. As we walked, I dusted the small, wet grains of sand off my clothes to the best of my ability. At least when we reached the forest, the trees blocked most of the rain. Rain patted the leaves, frogs croaked within the shadows, and a light fog surrounded us. In the distance, a dark mist shaped a short man with a tiny beard who turned and smiled at us. Startled, I rubbed my eyes and looked in the direction once more. Who was that? Am I just seeing things? Or was a guy just there, staring at us? This island is way too weird, not to mention evil. He kind of reminded me of... No, it can't be. This place is obviously making me see things. "Hey, did either of you see a guy standing in front of us?" I asked Jacer and Asher. "No," Asher answered politely. "Ha! See, I told you she was crazy," Jacer laughed. "I'm not crazy, you're crazy," I argued. "Where are you even from?" "You're right, I'm kind of crazy." He laughed some more and then grew serious. "I'm a traveler, and I like to go to places, especially dangerously fun places. One time, I went skating in some weird outdoor metal museum and got struck by lightning. Not too sure how I survived, but I did, and next time I knew my hair was white." Asher tilted his head once more, questioning Jacer's sanity. "How did you find Oogie?" "Oh, chicken? Yeah. I was crossing that old radiated place trying to find some mutated animals and stuff, and I found him. I like him. He's funny and is afraid of me. That makes him even funnier." "There is something seriously wrong with you," I stated in all seriousness. "Oh, and I keep forgetting to ask, but why do you call Oogie chicken? He's a dragon, you know." Good question. I guess I call him chicken because that's what I call all inferior animals. Also, there may even be a possibility that he is secretly a talking mutant ninja chicken in disguise. Obviously, because that would make total sense. After a couple of minutes of walking, we came across a large abandoned building with vines beginning to grow down the sides. "This is the place where Morgana was murdered," I said hesitantly. "All right,
let's go inside, Jacer said casually. I want to try something, Asher declared excitedly, trying to hide a smile. He held out his hands and began to grow a ginormous ball of fire. Once it was the size of his liking, he chucked it at the rusty metal doors, causing a mini explosion with trails of flames on the ground. Shh! What were you thinking? What if someone is here? I whispered, frantically trying to use my newfound ice power to put out the flames. Jacer laughed and gave Asher a high five. Nice one, man. How in the world did I get stuck with these two idiots? Jacer is such a bad influence on little Asher. We have to be quiet. Don't they understand that? Maybe if we're lucky, no one will be home. Yeah, that makes sense. Why would anyone be here anyway? It looks abandoned. Noticing that they both already entered the building, I hurried to catch up with them. Dim lights hung on the ceiling of the hall we were in, and pictures of scientists hung on the walls. This place is creepy, I muttered, hunching in fear as I walked. Agreed, Asher whispered, terrified. No way, you guys are total wimps. If we're lucky, maybe we'll see a ghost, Jacer snickered. What's that over there? Freezing in our tracks, both Asher and I hesitated before turning our heads toward the entrance to an open room. All we could see was a tall figure, and that was all it took for us to start screaming our heads off. Ghost! We screamed simultaneously. Jacer sighed and pointed at the figure who was slowly walking toward us. No, you morons. It's just some old geezer, look. I can say with certainty that I am not just some ordinary old geezer. My name is Roland. Heat! Who do I have the pleasure of meeting this fair morning? Relieved that he wasn't truly a ghost, I relaxed and adopted a more cautious behavior. I'm Asher. That's Jacer and there's Whisper, Asher stated, smiling as he pointed toward us. Hey, what are you doing? I asked, quickly grabbing his arm and pulling him toward me. Don't talk to strangers. Didn't your parents ever teach you that? He smiled like he always did and glanced at the tall, white-bearded, bald old man. Yeah, but he looks like a good guy. Asher is excessively innocent and trusting. Then again, this man doesn't seem evil. He's smiling and is so relaxed in his manner. He almost emits a trusting aura as is. Still, maybe I'm paranoid, but there's something about him that I don't trust. For now, I guess I'll see how things go. What brings you young fellows to my home? Can I get you anything? Tea? Water? Cheese and crackers? Roland asked, quiet and polite. His voice was stronger than I expected, and he was quite agile for his age. He really looked like a nice, healthy old man. Yeah, I'll take some cheese and crackers. Oh, and water too. I'm thirsty, so make it quick, old man, Jacer ordered as he walked into the nearest room and sat at a table of his own accord. Why are you so rude? I yelled at Jacer, frustrated by his actions. Could I possibly have some water? Asher asked in the correct, polite way. Roland nodded, and before heading into the room that I assumed to be the kitchen, he replied with, Certainly. You are all welcome to sit at the table where your friend is sitting. Yeet! I apologize for Jacer's rudeness. I promise he isn't as bad of a guy as he seems, I said as he walked away. Why does he keep saying yeet? What does that even mean? Oh well. He's old. I guess I can't hold it against him. Slowly, Roland turned around and smiled. No worries, my young friend. Once he went into the kitchen and shut the door behind him, Asher and I quickly met up with Jacer and sat down. Why do you have to be so rude to everyone you meet? I asked, staring at Jacer. He shrugged, and the best answer he could give me was, that's just what I do. Man, he's so rude. Yet at other times he acts like a decent guy. Though, he does seem to be pretty stupid at most times. Okay, so maybe not stupid, but more like lacking common sense? I never imagined that I would be hanging out in a group like this. A boy with overwhelming innocence and trust, an insane teen who can't hold his tongue and has no filter,
3 dragons who usually could care less about the human race, but are helping because they were prophesized to? Even then, they may not have wanted to help anyways. Polar Eye probably made them come. As we waited for Roland, Jacer and Asher passed the time by talking about guy stuff and video games. I, on the other hand, resided within my mind. At last, Roland arrived holding a tray containing cheese and crackers and 3 glasses of water. Carefully, he set it on the table and took a seat. "So, Roland, what exactly is this place?" I asked.
"In all honesty, it is the former headquarters of the OSI," he answered.
Asher tilted his chair back and crossed his arms behind his head. "OSI? What's that?"
"The Organization of Superior Intelligence is a group of what I like to call discriminators. However, their main goal is to eliminate all dragons on Earth, or so I've heard. I have never actually seen the mythical beasts, but I have read about them. The OSI believes that any creature that chooses to feel superior to humanity deserves death. Heat! The basis of their belief is rooted in their desire to always have full control and power in every situation. At the moment, they are stationed in South Africa. Whoops. I guess my old age is getting to me. I probably shouldn't be boring you with this information. I don't even know if you're allowed to know about it."
Roland chuckled to himself. "Wow, it's crazy that groups like that actually exist," I stated, buying time for my next question. "Do you have a restroom that I can use?"
"Indeed I do. It is down the hall, to the right. Yeet! 3 doors down,"
Roland said as he pointed toward the hall. As I headed into the hall, I said, "Thank you," and then receded into my own mind. I knew it. I knew there was something up with this place. First the vision, then the creepy feeling, and now the OSI. What if they're the whole reason why this phenomena are occurring? Maybe they're trying to draw the dragons out one by one? Or maybe they just want to kill humanity. Actually, I think drawing the dragons out is a more realistic plan. I guess it's possible that they have some sort of mechanism that is altering the planet. I have an uneasy feeling that this is the same building where Morgana was murdered. I need to find that room. Maybe there's a clue that factors into this whole ordeal. I quietly raced through the dark, flickering through maze-like halls, trying to find the room that held such a bloodlust. I was stopped in my tracks in front of a staircase leading to the basement. Hesitantly, I tiptoed down the pitch-black stairs, my eyes fixed on the darkness that lay ahead. As I grew closer to the main room, I could see the light of a single wax candle sitting on a podium in the middle of the emptiness. The sickly scent of blood flooded my nostrils, and I was forced to cover my mouth with my hand. My vision raced through my mind once more, reminded me of the first incident in this room. The walls and floor were still stained with blood, and shackles hung on the wall. Other than that, the surrounding area was bare, holding no hints or clues. The smell was nauseating, so much so that I had no choice but to run back upstairs. That was definitely the room. I could sense it. Why did it smell like blood if no one has used it for 5 years? Could there still be someone here gathering and torturing dragons? If so, it would make sense for the blood to smell fresh and linger in the humid air. Who? Who could be doing this? Unless the guy I saw in my vision. He didn't have a beard, but the facial features were similar. It has to be him, Roland. He said this was his home, and he knew about the OSI and the dragons. If he is actually a member of that organization, I have to get back to the room and check on Jacer and Asher. They could be in danger. There is no telling what he can do. It all makes sense now. Why didn't I notice it before? I have to hurry. I ran as fast as I could back to the room, attempting not to get lost. My head twisted and turned in every direction to confirm that I was going the right direction. What I found when I arrived at the dining room was worrisome. I couldn't see Roland anywhere, and both Jacer and Asher were passed out on the table. As I moved closer, I noticed that they were sleeping, but why was the real question. "Wake up," I whispered as loudly as possible. They continued to snore loudly and not budge a bit. Repeatedly, I lightly slapped Jacer's face back and forth and flicked him. He must have been in a deep sleep, because that didn't even wake him up. I guess that Roland put some sort of sleeping drug in the water. It was a good thing I didn't drink any of it. Ugh, darn it. If I hadn't been in here, I could have stopped this. I have to find Roland before he does anything else. Once again, it's all my fault. I have to get those two out of here, but at the same time, I have to take care of Roland. I can't let him find out that Azor and the others are in the vicinity either. What do I do? Before creating a plan or strategy, I frantically ran through the halls in search of Roland. I turned corner after corner, but it was as if he had vanished. It wasn't until I caught up in a frantic, heart-pounding search that he appeared behind me.
"So you think you're some sort of hero? Those incompetent dragons told you that you and the others are meant to save the world or something, right? What a load of crap. Our spy warned us of your little plan to come and destroy us. Yeet! How foolish can you children be? No matter how hard you try, just know you can't do anything to stop us." He chuckled and smiled smugly as he pointed a strange gun toward me. It was similar to the one in my vision, but this one was white and green with a round base. "I kind of feel sorry for what you are about to do. Then again, maybe not. Yeet!" I couldn't help but be confused about what he just said. Before I could analyze it, he flipped a switch on the device, and a projected green light smacked my forehead. It didn't hurt, but it made me feel weird. What happened? It feels like my body is moving, but I can't see anything or even hear anything. Everything is dark. Why? It felt as if the darkness was engulfing me as I slowly began to lose all motivation and joy. I was right before. Am I just a useless part of the team? I wasn't even able to help them when they needed me the most. Now Jacer and Asher are in danger. I didn't want to go on this stupid adventure. I could have just stayed home and lived my simple life. I wish I didn't even meet those dragons. They've ruined everything. I hate them. Uncontrollable darkness was swelling inside my heart, ready to consume my whole existence. But something wasn't right. It felt wrong. My feelings, they felt like a lie. Through the darkness, I caught a glimpse of light in the far distance, and I reached for it. I reached farther and farther until the glimpse turned into a brightness that overtook me. I hate them? Hate? Wait, what am I saying? I would never regret meeting my friends. Not ever. I don't know exactly what's happening, but get out of my head! With that, I snapped out of the trance I was in. I was in a completely different room. On the wall hung a ginormous screen with a control panel. Where am I? What did he mean he feels sorry for what I'm about to do? Did I do something? Why do I feel so uneasy? And why is my heart aching? What the heck is going on? What did Roland do to me? Why can't I remember anything? I remember him pointing the device at me and then nothing. Everything is blank. I noticed Roland sneaking out of the room, surprised that I broke through the trance. I yelled, "What did you do to me, Roland?" He smiled deviously and answered, "Nothing." Charging at him, I screamed, "You liar!" Using my power to harden my leg with ice, I kicked him, knocking him to the floor. "I'm not going to let you hurt my friends." I didn't have time to fight him. My goal was to get Asher and Jacer to safety, so I left him where he fell and ran out of there. Fueled by both anger and worry, I rushed to the room where the two were waiting, sleeping on the table. Looking through my bag for something useful, I remembered the rope I bought. I knew it would come in handy. Instead of attempting to drag them the whole way back, I just pulled them to the entrance with the previously destroyed doors, one by one. I placed them both on a section of the broken metal door, tied the rope to it, and placed both ends in my hands. I ran with all my might, but they were heavy. Well, Jacer was mainly the heavy one.
With each step, my shoes slid in the mud, and rain slipped in between the crevices of my hand, making it difficult to hold the rope. He's bound to follow us if I don't hurry. It feels like my shoulders are going to fall off and my hands burn, but I need to keep going. We aren't that far from the shore. It may not be the shore we started on, but it has to work. It's so close. I can see the opening. Just a little more. I just need to keep going for a little while longer. I couldn't hide the fact that I was terrified. Roland had a device that took control of my mind and almost sent it into complete darkness. If he had the chance, I am certain that he would do it again. Rain pounded against my body like needles as I reached the opening. I had arrived at the shore, but I was at a loss for what to do next. It didn't help that I could hear Roland shouting, "You can't escape from me!" from behind as he drew closer. I know they'll be able to hear me. They have to. "Alzora, Oogie, Zephyr, please get us out of here," I bellowed at the top of my lungs. I could see the trees rattling in the distance. I knew Roland was getting closer. At the moment I least expected it, they came. They dived in all at once, grabbed us by our arms, and flew toward the next island. We didn't even have the chance to climb up on top of their backs. It only took a few minutes to get to the closest landmark, Spain. Once we landed, Jacer and Dasher woke up. Alzora, Zephyr, and Oogie bombarded them with questions, but of course they didn't know the answers because they were asleep the whole time. I, on the other hand, had regained my memory and was horrified at what I had done. Everything had raced through my mind all at once, and I wished with all my heart that it was just a preventable vision. It was a possibility that I regained my memory because I had reached a specific distance away from that strange device, but realizing what I had done was tearing me apart. I could see myself standing in front of that large control panel, pressing random keys and searching through top-secret files. As I looked up from the keyboard onto the screen, I could see a peaceful, mountainous area. Caves were scattered everywhere, and the air was clean and breathtaking. Several dragonettes soared the skies, playing with each other. Without any ability to stop my finger from pressing the launch button, the beauty of that land was destroyed. Missiles fell from the sky above, crashing harshly into the middle of the mountains, causing an explosion. I couldn't help but look away in horror. "I'm so sorry," I intervened quietly as they began to notice me. "What could you be sorry about? You got yourself and these morons out of that island alive, so that's a good thing," Alzora smirked. "No, listen to me, Alzora. The dragon village, I think I destroyed it." Her face grew grim as she swished her tail back and forth. "What do you mean, you destroyed my village? That's impossible. You're just human." I didn't mean to. You see, there were these missiles and they were already set to launch towards the mountains. Quickly, my eyes began to tear up and wouldn't stop once Alzora started talking. "I knew I couldn't trust you. You idiotic human. How did you manage to annihilate an entire village? Zephyr, Oogie, we're leaving. We need to check on the village. We have no idea how many casualties there could be. I don't have time to put up with your petty excuses." The others nodded, shot us a few harsh glares, and flew off into the distance, leaving us stranded in Spain. "Alzora, wait, let me explain." All I could hear was the faded, angry shout echo through the raging winds covering the ocean. "No." Well, that's it, guys, for Chapter 8, and I hope I will see you guys again for Chapter 9, but hope you enjoyed. Bye!